Hey guys, so I thought I would film this tutorial. This is like a very fuss-free summer makeup tutorial, something that I would wear on the daily, and the best part is that there is actually no foundation. So if you want to see how to get this, keep watching. So you guys, I'm gonna just do the skin prep like fast forward, little bit of eye cream. I'm gonna use my moisturizer, my sunscreen, and just kind of get my lips all prepped with a little bit of the MAC lip conditioner. So I'm going to combine the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter and the NARS Laguna Liquid Bronzer. You guys, I don't even know how I discovered, but these two products, they work so nicely together. I'll just pump some out of the bronzer, which is in a pump that I really like, and then I'll just kind of decant some of the Charlotte Tilbury, and I'll use the back of my hand if I'm working on myself, and then I'll just take a nice buffing brush. I like the Real Techniques one. And then I just kind of like buff it into my skin. And I have a little bit of coverage from the sunscreen. It's got a little bit of a tint. But I find that if my skin is doing relatively well, I mix these two products together and they just make this really nice, glowy, very, very sheer summer base. And on some days, that's all I really want. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to go back with a little bit of concealer, but this is going to kind of function as my foundation. And I'll do a layer, and then you can see I'm going back and I'm just adding another layer until it's like as tan and as glowy as I want. Okay, so now I've got my nice glowy base on. So I'm gonna move on to the eyes. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This is the original one. And I use it straight from the tube and the wand because I only use it on myself. I have like a squeezy tube one that I use in my kit by Lorac because it's just like easier to decant. But this one, if you're just using it on yourself, it's fine. I'm actually working my way through it, but it's a great eyeshadow primer and one of the originals. And I just use my ring finger to like smooth it out all the way from the lash to the brow and then a little bit underneath. Okay, so the eyelids are primed and I'm just busting out. This is a Salt New York case. I'm trying to show you how much I like it by nodding my head. By the way, I'm doing a voiceover because this was very early this morning. These are all NARS eyeshadows and I'm taking a little bit of this light color, and you guys, I don't know all the names. I'm sure I can find them for you if you're interested, but the bottom line is it doesn't really matter. I'm just taking this, it's like a sheer skin color eyeshadow. So whatever your skin color is, you find a color that meets it and is basically sheer, and I'm just using it to kind of add a little bit of like making the texture smooth so I can buff eyeshadows on it. And then I went in with that color that was slightly darker, like ever so slightly. And this is also a very sheer eyeshadow, and I'm starting to work it into the crease. And you can see that even with that little bit of product, it just helps to bring out the crease a little more. And sometimes that subtlety is what makes eyeshadow so great. Like if you ever go in with like a really dark brown and you're fair and you're like, why does this look so crazy? You probably used a crease color to start with that was too dark. So always go a little lighter, and I find that that's just like the way to make everything blend. And you can always add and go darker, but that's usually a good way to start. So before things get too deep and dark with the eyeshadow, I'm going to go in with this nice warm brown eyeshadow, and I'm really just going to get it into the upper lash line, just where the lashes are growing, just to sort of thicken it. I'm not using anything too dark. I just want to start to add a little bit of depth and dimension there. So I'll just run it over, add a little bit, blend it out, and then what I like to do is take my ring finger and kind of zhuzh over the top so that it just kind of like diffuses it and it smooths it out, and then my shadow is going to go over it without it getting choppy, if you know what I mean. And then I'm going to grab this really tightly packed rounded stiff brush, and I'm just going to zhuzh over it very, very lightly. I like this brush because it really allows you to be light with your pressure, and what I'll probably do is go back and add a little eyeshadow on top next. Okay, so speaking of eyeshadow, this is one half of NARS Kalahari. If you're a NARS lover, you probably have this eyeshadow. I'm sorry I'm like off camera. I'm trying to look in the mirror and you guys are losing sight of me, but I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I'm just taking that brush with a little bit of the eyeshadow and I'm going over the liner just to kind of like smoke it out and smooth it out, as you can see. And you'll go back and you'll repeat that process as many times as you like. And you kind of want to like feather it up towards the crease and just kind of get it like lighter and lighter as you go. Okay, so now I'm going to take one half of Silk Road, these are all NARS, and the shinier side of Kalahari, and then I'm going to use that same stiff, like half moon shaped brush, and I'm just going to focus this on the center of the lid and then swiping like outward to the inner and the outer corner. Basically, I just want to like add a layer of patina and shimmer, and then I'm going to take this NARS color called Sophia. It looks like a really dark brown, but it's actually kind of sheer, and I don't mind that about these shadows because I find you can like layer them and blend them, and I'm just going to deepen the crease with that so that it just kind of like finds its way and there's no like areas where I've forgotten to put shadow, which can happen with a deep crease like this. And then whatever's left, I'll just kind of like zhuzh it in the corner and slide it underneath the lower lash line. Okay, so now we're at the point that the eyes are like pretty much done. Doesn't really look like it yet, but it will eventually, don't worry. So I'm just kind of brushing out the brows, and I'm gonna go back in with that same foundation brush and just kind of like smooth underneath, clean up under the eyes, blend whatever into the hairline, and we're gonna do some brows. And this is when I find that things really come together. This is my favorite brow pencil, and it's like $7 by Maybelline. It's the Total Temptation Brow Pencil. And as you can see, I'm going really light, and I'm not gonna like be too fussy about the brows. I just want to bring them out a little more. I have very sparse brows, I always have, so I'm just trying to like frame the eye area and just make them look like a little more polished. Very light pressure I find really helps if you're looking for more of like a natural look, and I'm just kind of like adding with little hair-like strokes, like little flicks, and then what I'll do is I'll go back in with my spoolie and I'll kind of brush them out as needed, and then we'll set them with a little bit of eyeshadow towards the end. Okay, so we have a little framework with the brows, and then I'm going to use a little concealer. So I did say this look was no foundation, but concealer, I'm not going anywhere without concealer. So I'm using a little NARS, a lot of NARS today, NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is Affogato, which is one of the lightest colors, and it's a little less yellow than some of the previous light colors I've had. They've really expanded their range of colors, and they've also really gotten into the pinks a little bit more, which if you know NARS, most of their colors tend to be a little on the yellow side, and if you're a little more cool toned like me, you're probably very happy to see those additions. So I'm using the same brush intentionally. It just is going to kind of help mix everything together. I find with this step, be so incredibly light with your pressure and your brush. Otherwise, with this particular product, you're going to swipe it away. You're basically going to wipe it off. So you have to go very, very lightly, quick strokes just to blend it in without blending it off, if that makes sense. And what I'll do is I'll use it, I'll blend it like in the areas where I'm going to get shadows anyway because I'm old, and under the eyes, around the mouth, around the nose, and then I'll keep the areas that I want to be kind of bronzy and almost like contoured, like my cheekbones. I'll keep the color there, if that makes sense. So I pretty much always will use my ring finger and I'll tap out underneath my eyes and around my mouth, like anywhere that I'm gonna naturally crease. And I'll do that with the warmth of my finger right before I powder, and very, very lightly at that. So I'm just taking this RCMA, this is like the translucent powder in the compact form, and I'm going so light with so little product under the eyes, around the nose, etc., just to kind of set everything. Again, I don't want to swipe anything off, and I don't want to accumulate a lot of product. I want to keep it really light and natural, but just set everything in place so I don't end up with a lot of creasing. So as I mentioned before, after this step is when I'm going to go in with a little bit of eyeshadow or whatever you use as brow powder. And this is a MAC 266, and this is an eyeshadow called Fashion Fix. It is so old, but it's only going on my brows, and it's like the perfect cool brown for my particular eyebrows. I can deepen it or I can lighten it depending on how much pressure, but I just go over the pencil and it just kind of sets everything in place, and I just like the finish that it gives. All right, so this step is not totally necessary. I just want to take a nice soft blackish brown eyeliner, and I want to kind of thicken up my upper lash line with it. I love this one. It's the Pixie one, and it's called, I believe, Black Caviar. So it's not super black, but it's not brown. It's kind of right in the middle, which is where I like it. And I just want to kind of thicken my upper lash line just to give me a little more, like it's going to look like my lashes are thicker, and just kind of draw my eyes out a little bit. And I find that this also goes over shadow really nicely. Some eye pencils don't layer over shadow well. This is not one of them. It's very blendy, it's very smudgy, it's easy to use, but once it sets, it doesn't make a mess all over your eyes if that's what you would be worried about with a blendable one. I just really like this one. I do find that I have to sharpen it every time, so I'm not gonna have it much longer. And then I'll just go and I'll take one of those stiff flat brushes. Some people use this for eyeliner. And then I'm taking the lighter, or I should say the less shimmery color of NARS Kalahari, and I'm going underneath the bottom lash line. Now, if you see this, you're gonna be like, what did she do? It doesn't look like anything. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I go very, very light on my bottom lash line because I am gonna add mascara. And if I go a little too deep before I've gotten to the mascara, it's just gonna be too much. Okay, so just for fun, I'm going to add the lighter color of Silk Road, and I'm going to use that same brush that I've been using all over the eyelid, and I'm just going to put that on the inner corner just to add a little bit of lightness. And then once I've done those inner corners, I just kind of take whatever's left and I put it under my brows. If I go straight under the brows, I find it's a little too blingy, so I just like a very, very sheer wash there, just because that's kind of the theme of the makeup today. And then last but not least, just like a little blending with a MAC 217. This is one of my favorite brushes. Like if I could have one brush for everything, I'd probably just choose this one. And I just kind of make sure everything's like blended, there's no harsh lines, it looks like I know what I'm doing, blah, blah. So I'm going to fast forward this part because I don't know, I have a feeling you guys know how to put on mascara. I'm going to curl my lashes. I'm probably going to curl them twice. See, there I go, curling them twice. And I'm going to probably do my bottom lashes first with, this is like a very skinny brush. It's Maybelline Define-A-Lash. I really like it for the bottom lashes. And you'll see, once you get that bottom mascara on, you're like, oh, there's eyeliner. So that's why I go really, really light on the eyeliner on the bottom lash line. Oh my gosh, I'm getting like texts as I'm trying to do this voiceover. And then I'm just going to kind of zhuzh that bottom lash line, and then I'm going to apply lots of mascara to the upper lash line and probably do several coats. Okay, so we are going to fast forward this part. I'm going to take kind of like a dense slash fluffy brush. This is a BH Cosmetics, and my NARS, no, not NARS, my Kevyn Aucoin Neo Bronzer. It's such a beautiful color for the summer. There's a little bit of glow because I'm all about glow for this makeup look, but it's also the right shade of bronze for my skin tone. Not too much, not too little. It's just like the right amount. And then I'm taking this ColourPop. This is one of those sticks they came out with. I want to say it was last summer, and it's just like a little shimmer, a little pinkness on the cheeks, and it just gives me almost like a blush, but very, very subtle. I'm not a big blush person. I'm trying to, you know, kind of get more into the blush, but I tend to go for the lighter colors. So I'm taking these two NARS colors. These are from a palette that came out a couple of summers ago, if I'm going to be honest, but I'm going for like a pinky peach and then a little shimmer on the cheeks, and you can see the shimmer's really starting to build up. Granted, I have lights in my face, but I just wanted everything to kind of like blend together, look glowy, not too much makeup, and then I find when I hit the setting spray, like it kind of makes that glow really pop. And now it's like coming together. I think like now that, you know, it's summer, I'm 42, like I want to be glowy. I don't want to be super makeup-y. I want to be really glowy and just feel like nice. So last but not least, I'm just putting on a nice pinky nude lip liner, and I'm going to fill in the whole lip. This is one of those long-wearing lip pencils, so if you only do the line, the rest of your lipstick or lip product is going to wear off, and then you're just going to have a line. So I fill it all in. It's a little deeper than I'm going for these days, so I'm taking my ring finger, blending it out, and then I'm adding just a little bit of this gloss just to kind of make it look like comfortable and casual, and I'm getting that gloss all the way up to the ridge of the upper lip just to make my lips look as big and as plump and as shiny as possible. Okay, and then last but not least, I am just dampening a beauty blender and tapping it all over my face just to kind of take away the makeup look. And that is about it. It is so simple. I think it would take about 15 minutes maybe all in if you weren't talking and explaining. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.